God always keeps his promises. Hi kids, it's Aunty Vee and Uncle Nelson here. Uncle Nelson, do you remember a time when someone promised you something and then they weren't able to keep their promise?
Well, Mullet once promised me that we would go to the park and he would cook me a big barbecue of sausages for my birthday.
Aw, that's nice of Mullet to promise that.
Yeah, but when my birthday came, it rained the whole week. Mullet got sick playing in the rain, and then the park got flooded. So Mullet wasn't able to keep his promise.
Oh no! Did Mullet try and make up for it afterwards?
Yeah. Mullet then promised that for my next birthday, we would have an even bigger barbecue at the park, and he would cook me twice as many sausages.
But
When my next birthday came, he slept in and forgot that he had a soccer game on, so he couldn't make it and couldn't keep his promise.
oh, how did that make you feel?
I was sad and upset and a bit disappointed.
Did you try to have the barbecue again?
I want to, but I'm not sure that Mullet can keep his promises.
I'm sure that, like all of us, Mullet tried very hard to keep his promises. But did you know that there is only one person who always keeps his promises?
Yes, God!
Yeah, that's why we're going through the book of Joshua in Sunday school this month.
I like reading the book of Joshua. It's all about our wonderful God who always keeps his promises and no matter what.
Let's jump into the story now. Do you remember how God rescued his people, the Israelites, when they were stuck in Egypt as slaves? He made a path right through the middle of the Red Sea. He showed them where to go with a pillar of fire by night and a cloud during the day. He gave them water from rocks and sent manna from the sky for food every morning. He promised to bring them an amazing new land that would be theirs. All they had to do was trust him. But God's people worried and complained. Their leader Moses trusted God with his whole heart. God told Moses to send 12 men into the land to see how great it was. One of those 12 men was Moses' helper, Joshua. He trusted God too. Joshua and the spies found the land was amazing, as God had promised. But people lived there already. Big people. 10 of the spies came back terrified. They said,
We look like grasshoppers compared to the people there.
when the rest of God's people heard that, they got scared too. They didn't want to go to the promised land anymore. But Joshua knew God always kept his promises. He and the other spy, called Caleb, said,
If the Lord wants to give it to us, he will.
God had already shown his people how wonderful he was and how he could be trusted. But God's people chose not to obey God, and because they didn't obey God, they had to stay in the desert for 40 years. All those who didn't trust God would not be allowed into the land. But God always keeps his promises. God chose a new leader to take them into the promised land, Joshua. Someone who would trust God with his whole heart, just as Moses had. God said to Joshua,
Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua chapter 1 verse 9. Wow! Isn't that amazing? God never forgets his promises, and even his people didn't trust him. And as we keep reading Joshua, we'll see that God is always faithful and can always be trusted.
And God is the same today. You can be sure that he will keep every promise he has made. Let's sing a song about God's promise to Joshua and to us.